Hey, beautiful Oho people. I'm Mike from 1 Hour Out, and welcome to the very first episode of Outcast, sometimes podcast, sometimes live stream for lovers of all things made with love in regional Victoria. I hope everyone's doing okay after the wild weather last night, certainly here in the Yarra Valley, which is part of Metro Melbourne, I might add. We copped a hammering. We've got our power back just a couple of hours ago, so fingers crossed things hold together for this live stream today. Well, damn, 2020 kind of put some stuff on hold, huh? Well, we all took for granted that we could randomly decide to get out of town, grab a last minute Airbnb and land on some of our favourite producers in regional Victoria. We can't at the moment, so in an attempt to keep you in touch with all our passionate people who are doing their thing an hour or more out of Melbourne, we've decided to kick off Outcast. 2020 hasn't stopped those dedicated producers and makers from doing what they do. They're still passionate, they're still in love with their thing, whether it's wine, beer, gin, mushrooms, truffles, pickles, sourdoughs, ceramics, jewellery, or in an epic segue to our guest today, honey. So today's guest on Outcast is Robyn Broomfield from Shorthive Honey in Nellangul, southwestern Victoria. So Robyn, for those of us who are tied to our houses in Metro Melbourne, tell us a bit about your part of the world. Where are you? What's it like there?
So we're in Nellangul, which is about 15 minutes west of Colac. So about 45 minutes north of the 12 Apostles. So it's a great area down there with lots of dairy, so lots of great ice cream, cheese, milk products down in that area, as well as the beauty of the Great Ocean Road. Wow,
it sounds amazing. And do you spend all your time out there?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
So don't forget, folks, this is a live Instagram, so you can feel free just to log your questions here on the little thing down below. Ask your questions. Robyn's here to answer questions about honey, about life in regional Victoria, about what it means to be a producer and a maker of amazing honey. So Robyn, speaking of things out there, how's the 2020 show impacted the honey business? Are the bees okay?
Yes, the bees are fine. They don't really know what's going on with the world at the moment. They just keep making our honey for us, which is brilliant. From a business perspective, we usually go to markets, and that's how we meet our customers, is going to weekend markets every weekend. Which we don't have that ability at the moment to go and meet people in person. So things like this is a great way to try and connect with people online.
Yeah, for sure. So social media's been a big thing for you guys. I'm imagining from your actual Instagram feed, it seems pretty lively with some amazing looking stuff.
Yes. Yeah, we definitely really had to pick up the social media side of things, the online side of things this year, just trying to reach different people. We were so focused in the last couple of years with markets, kind of getting between Melbourne, the Great Ocean Road, out to Warrnambool, Ballarat, that kind of region of southwest Victoria. But going online, it means we can reach people right across Australia, and people that don't usually come to markets. So it's really opened up many doors for us.
Yeah, cool. Well, so for me, honey is one of those super nostalgic flavours. I've got so many memories of my mum making simple sandwiches from homemade bread and Manuka honey in New Zealand, where I grew up. Apologies for the accent, everybody. If you can hear a little twang there, it's from the North Island of New Zealand. So right up until Mum passed away, she'd still put Manuka honey in my pantry. We would go to the pantry and there it was in the cupboard. And so it's super nostalgic for me. What memories does honey evoke for you, Robyn?
Well, yes, also very nostalgic for us. My grandfather got his first beehive when my dad was only 4 years old. And so my grandfather's been a beekeeper for over 50 years. So honey has always been part of our family. We've always had many different types, whether it be a dark bush honey or a creamed honey or some mixed blossom. There's always different varieties in the pantry and have been our whole lives.
Wow.
It's very much been a part of our life for a very long time.
Somebody called Lazy Janie, I can't quite pronounce the full handle there, is asking, how many bees do you have?
Well, there's up to thousands of bees per hive. So I haven't got out there and counted how many thousands of bees there were that we have altogether. But we've probably, I think my dad's up to about 30 or 40 hives at the moment. It's kind of the low season at the moment, so we'll be building up those bees into summer. So the number of bees that we have will drastically increase over the next 6 months. And then it kind of peaks in the middle of summer, and then this is, the colder season is when it's a bit less bees, but an actual number I'm not quite sure.
Okay. So I have to ask about the name Shorthive honey. Where did that come from?
Well, my dad has been around, my granddad, has been a beekeeper for many, many years. About 5 years ago, my parents moved from Melbourne back into their area where they grew up, which is just near Colac. So my parents were on this farm, but how did they make some money? Did they need to go get employed in different areas? Just wasn't sure what to do. So over a period of time, we were brainstorming of different ideas, what we could do, how we could create some revenue from the farm and the things that we can do on the farm. And so it was a process. In the end, there was me, my brother, my sister-in-law, my parents sitting around a table talking. Wanted to come up with a business, and we thought that honey was the ideal thing to go with. But we didn't want to take away from my granddad's business and my granddad producing that honey and supplying it to the greater Colac area. So being a small business, we threw around all sorts of different ideas.
Yeah.
In the end, we just came up with Shorthive. Having 5 people deciding on a name together is never going to be easy.
It's like picking the name of a band or a child, or it's never an easy thing.
But obviously it's honey, so hive comes in there.
Yeah.
And short, basically, for another word for small. We couldn't be small hive because there's actually a small hive beetle, which is a pest that can get into hives. So we didn't want to be small hive. So we thought short hive kind of ran off the tongue nicely, and it's just a small business. We do everything in small batches or short batches.
So you talked about your grandfather's business in Colac and you know how that was kind of well, it sounds like it's been a fixture of the area for quite some time. How did you personally, Robyn Broomfield, get in? Like, where did you pick up the passion for that honey and decide, well, do you know what, I'm going to drop what I'm doing and pursue that?
It definitely built up over time. When you've got this idea there, and the 5 of us kept talking about this idea, and it was building. It just, over time, we just kind of got more and more excited about it as we did trials. My brother and my sister-in-law did about 15 different types of flavors that they tried infusing, from chai, lavender, lemon, orange, just a variety of different flavors. And as you taste them, your mind goes wild of the different ideas of how you could do it and how we could develop this product and get it to people out there. And so yeah, having honey always in the family, and then having this idea of how we can do something so unique with the honey. It's built over time. It was basically just a hobby in the beginning for us, something on the side. It's definitely grown to me and my dad are both full-time in the business now.
Really? So obviously you've got loads of family help and experience that's sort of passed down over generations. It's pretty amazing.
Yes.
So
our granddad's still out there, will help us with the bees.
Yeah. So speaking of flavours, I've got this honey here, and don't forget, people, you can ask questions if you want to. Hit us up with anything you want to know about honey. I've still got loads more questions, but don't make it all about me. Let's have a look at this honey. So you've very kindly sent me this pack of honey here, and we'll do a little internet unboxing of this. I've got in my little amazing little bag here. This is so cute. I've got a salted honey. I've got an espresso honey. I'm looking forward to that. Power's been off, and along with it, the coffee machine. And I've got a chili honey. So, wow, a chili honey and a cacao honey. So I'm just going to try this. Ethan, you can cut back to me, because I'm going to try this. So I really want to see. I've got, in lockdown, I had the benefit of all my children home, and one of them is actually looking after the control panel today. So this Squeeze it. It's a bit thick. What is that? Is that normal, Robyn?
So honey in the hives is naturally at about 37 degrees, especially in the middle parts of the frames. So 37 degrees is roughly the ideal temperature to keep your honey at, and then it's nice and flows nice and freely. It's much thicker as it gets colder. So obviously it's cold today and at this time of year, so the honey will naturally be thicker. So you can. It varies greatly between a cold day and a warm day how freely it will flow.
Wow, you can really get the salt in that. It kind of just intensifies the. It's not like cloyingly salty. It just kind of intensifies the flavour of the honey.
You can tell that it's honey. It's definitely honey, but it's different than normal honey.
It's just a little more
this
savoury.
one's great. Yeah, you can put it on ice cream and pancakes, drizzle it on scones, stir it through your porridge, put it in a bowl of fruit salad or in a smoothie. So it's just a great way of adding the honey to other products, but you've got that sweetness, but almost that caramel. So it's a healthier version than a traditional caramel.
Okay, amazing. Well, how about I move on? That is good. I've got plans for that later because you said pancakes, and that is one of the favourite things in this house. Ethan's eyes lit up. So
it's really interesting on something like pancakes because it hits the cold of the ice cream and it kind of becomes more like toffee. But then on the warmth of the pancake, it becomes even more liquidy. So it kind of all gets in amongst the pancake. So you've got two textures in the one meal.
So where should I move on to from there?
We'll go into the espresso next. So this one we infuse with Padre roasted coffee beans. Padre is a coffee roaster in Brunswick in Melbourne, so they roast the beans for us. So then we get the beans, we freshly grind them ourselves, and then we pour it into the honey, or the grinds into the honey. We stir it every day for 2 weeks, and then we filter out those grinds, so it just leaves the natural colours and flavours behind in the honey. So this one's a great coffee kick to add to other things. So again, on ice cream, on crumpets, spread it on banana bread, put it in your muesli, stir it through some natural yogurt. It's just a way of adding coffee to your other foods.
That's amazing. Gee, it's actually it's a beautiful coffee too. So I really appreciate that you've gone to the trouble of making a partnership with a local roaster. I think that's pretty cool. What do they think of this, by the way?
Yeah, well, they got on board before we had even really developed anything. So they were we lived in South Melbourne, so we did go to the Padre Cafe ourselves as just normal customers in South Melbourne. Yeah. And so we thought that their coffee would pair really well with the idea that we were having. So we went to them one day and said, this is an idea that we have. We are just a few people wanting to start a family business. And they said, we'd love to join you. We'd love to be involved. And so they sell our coffee honey through their stores, and they provide us with the coffee beans. So it's a great little partnership that we've created, and great that they were willing to jump on board with a small business. It's
so cool. And you've got no problems getting coffee from them at the moment?
No.
Yeah, cool. So somebody's asked, this is Lisa, is there an infusion that is more popular than the others?
Probably the salted honey is our most popular one, purely because there's a portion of people that don't like coffee, and kids, for instance, don't generally have coffee. So that kind of takes some people out of the equation for the coffee one. And also chili is a very personal thing. Everyone kind of likes chili, or they don't like chili.
Yeah, I love chili. I can't wait to taste this chili one. So, yeah. But, so salted you think is the most popular?
Salted honey. The whole family loves it. The kids love it. Mums and dads. It doesn't matter. That would probably be the most popular one that we have. Our cacao one, we only released in May. And so only having it a few months and only having it online, we haven't been able to share it with as many people as we thought we would if we were going to markets and being able to get that real-time feedback from people at markets. But it's also showing to be very popular. So did you want to try the cacao one next?
I'm dying to try this one too. Oh, wow, the smell's amazing. Yeah.
It's our limited edition honey. We use raw cacao. So the difference between cacao and cocoa is that cocoa is roasted cacao beans. The roasting can it takes away some of the nutrients and things which are in the cacao beans. And the roasting does sweeten up the cacao bean to make it cocoa. We've gone raw with the cacao beans. So we grind, it comes as a powder. We purchase it as a powder and we stir it through the honey. And so that sweetness really offsets any bitterness that there is in normal cacao or cocoa.
Yeah. Wow.
And it's a
balanced.
strong chocolatey flavour.
Oh, it's like, I don't know how to describe that, people. It's like it's definitely sweet like honey, but it's not cloyingly sweet like a milk chocolate or anything, but it's got that kind of silky texture. That's stunning. That's going straight on toast.
Yes, on toast. No need for Nutella. This is your natural Nutella.
Well, speaking of ice cream, yeah, well, I didn't want to, hold it up to Nutella, but I reckon Nutella has got something to worry about there. But especially at the moment, you've launched this product during the middle of 2020's dramas. How have you as a business, how have you found that, like launching a new thing?
Well, we do have many followers, many regular customers who follow us either through Instagram or our newsletter, and they've really jumped on board. They've tasted our other products. They know that we have good quality products, and so they're willing to take the risk without trying the cacao before purchasing it. So we've really had a lot of our regulars adding this to their normal regular orders, as well as just people who are intrigued by the idea of trying a chocolate honey.
Yeah, it's certainly chocolatey. People, you've got to get on that. That's amazing.
It's great with like berries and fresh banana. So it adds like that chocolate. You can make like a dessert
would be amazing
pizza
with that. Oh, okay. Tell me about dessert pizza.
Yeah, so you could just drizzle it on, put some berries, just however you do it. You can either drizzle the cacao on after you've already cooked the pizza base, or have it on first. Put it on cheesecake or waffles. So there's so many different ways you can just stir that chocolate, and it's very thick. If you notice of all of them, that's actually the thickest one because the cacao has almost expanded the honey.
We've had a question come in about the source of the cacao.
So cacao grows best in South America. So most cacao comes from Peru and Ecuador. So we buy it from a local wholesaler in Colac, who purchases it in large quantities.
So we're drawing ever closer to the chili. And what do you recommend for me tasting this?
So the chili honey does have quite a kick. So it's almost a bit deceptive when you taste it off the spoon by itself, because it really gives you that punch. So if you're not a big chili fan, it's great to mix it with other foods and flavors, and then it's not overpowering. But you tell me that you're a chili lover.
Yeah.
So you just put a little bit. You don't need too much. Just a little bit. And just take a taste. You'll find that you can taste the honey first, and then the chili comes in afterwards, and it really builds. And it gets to kind of a peak, and then it slowly comes down the other side.
Wow. Do you really enjoy watching your market go a sweat?
Yes.
I don't think you're going to pick up the honey chili spoon unless you're a lover of chili, are you? You know what's coming, and it's just like, it's not a punch in the face kind of smack hot. It's just a beautiful developed sweetness and heat together. It's not overpowering of either of the flavors there.
It has to have a lot of flavor, because there's no point doing it if it doesn't give you that punch. And that means you don't need to use much. Once you're mixing it with different flavors of other foods, you can just use a little, and you can really control the heat once you mixed it with the other products. So things like putting it in a stir fry, mixing it with your meats and your vegetables, stirring it through a fried rice, having it instead of sweet chili sauce with your wedges.
That's a great idea.
By adding it to other foods, you just use a little bit, and then if there's one person in the family that really likes the chili more, they can add a bit more on top. But even kids will be fine with it.
Yeah.
If you don't use much.
Well, do you know what I always say? If you bring your kids up eating chili, and my children have spent their life eating chili, they know that when Dad cooks, there's chili in it, and they've got great tolerance. So don't be afraid of that. I've got these 4 beautiful honeys in my pantry now. How do I look after them? And I'm not going to use them all at once. How do I keep honey? Like, is it a pantry thing, a fridge thing?
Definitely don't put it in the fridge. As I mentioned earlier, the honey in the hives is warmer, or about 37 degrees. So room temperature is ideal for honey. We don't recommend leaving it on windowsills because the UV rays from the sun can degrade some of those natural health benefits in the sun from the honey. So keeping it in just any place in your kitchen. You can keep it in your pantry. A warmer place is more ideal. Natural honey will crystallize at some point in its life. We use eucalyptus honey. Eucalyptus honey crystallizes less or slower than many other honeys. So in general, you should get at least 6 months, if not a year or 2, before it will start to crystallize. If it does crystallize, it's easy to fix. You just need to warm it up a bit. So pasteurization and classing honey as no longer raw happens at 70 degrees. That's where the natural benefits start to degrade in the honey. Obviously, we want to keep all that natural benefits of the honey. So don't heat it past 70 degrees, but up to about 50 or 55 degrees will take it back to its normal state. So basically, if you look at your honey and it looks hard, it goes almost like a slightly whiter color when it's crystallized. Just warm it up a bit. Put it in a Ziploc bag if you want to protect the label. You want to make sure you don't contaminate the honey with water. Put it in a hot cup of water. Just keep an eye on the temperature. It'll go back to its natural state if it does happen to crystallize. But if you've kept it in a warmer part of your kitchen, then it should be fine.
I have to say that what was my mum's best trick was just to run the honey jar under the tap and she'd just roll it around until all the crystals had dissolved back in, and then she'd give it a stir, and we were good for ages after. Someone's just asked, can you briefly explain the health benefits of honey?
So there's it's a natural antibiotic. Antiseptic.
Yeah.
Yes. So it's great for just fighting anything that you might have. You can even use natural honey. I wouldn't want to use the chili honey, but if you've got a wound or something like that, honey you can put on a wound, and it's got those benefits that will fight any infection that might be in there. If you know of what you're allergic to, so for instance, if you know that you were allergic in a hay fever sense of eucalyptus, the pollens and nectars from eucalyptus, we use eucalyptus honey, so therefore you could have that, and it kind of deceives your body by consuming the honey. Your body then thinks, oh, this is actually a good thing, and therefore it may, for some people, no longer have those as severe effects of the hay fever. So it's great to find out what you're allergic to if you do get hay fever, if you're able to kind of identify something, and find a local beekeeper honey. So getting something like a mixed blossom if you're not too sure, because then the bees have gone to all sorts of different flowers and nectars, whatever is flowering. And by consuming that, it may help with your hay fever. Obviously, it doesn't help for everyone, and it's a bit hard if you don't know what you're allergic to. But identifying that and finding a local honey can really help. So we're in Southwest Victoria, so if you happen to be in the Colac area, then we're great. But from a honey perspective, all honey is good for you.
So speaking of like local honey and local honey producers and so on, there was some controversy in recent years about honeys that have been sold in supermarkets. How can we make sure that we're getting the real deal?
I recommend buying it from a local beekeeper. So whether you look for a local beekeeping club, so for instance, there's a Geelong beekeeping club, you can contact them and they've got a list of all the local beekeepers. You could contact them directly. If you're in more regional areas, sometimes you'll just see a stand on the side of the road as you're driving along. Just a simple Google search, things will come up. So by getting it from a local beekeeper, you're guaranteed to be getting that local quality honey. Obviously, anything in a grocery store, you don't necessarily know the source of where it's come from or where the honey came from. So it may not help with things like allergies. because it's been processed at some level.
Amazing. And, our friends here at 1 Hour Out they're really dedicated supporters of regional producers. We love the feedback that we get and the love that all of our profiles and little specials with regional producers get. If people want to get their hands on some of your honey in particular, how do we get it?
So we have some of our honey on the 1 Hour Out website, so you can just jump on the link, which I'm sure is in the feed, and then you can click onto the 1 Hour Out. You can purchase directly through that website. We do have some stores around the place which do sell it. So, for instance, there is a store in Sassafras out in your kind of area.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's the closest thing out there. And then the Padre stores if you were in Brunswick or South Melbourne, or just off our website. So
and that's shorthive.com.au. We'll put up a screen at the end of the stream today, and it'll show the two principal places where we recommend you get Robyn's amazing honey from. So outside of restrictions, can people normally visit you in Colac or in Nellangul? Can people normally visit or find it locally up there?
So we don't have a place set up that can have people come to visit. Because we're dealing with food product, we do need to work in a commercial kitchen. So we do rent a commercial kitchen in Colac, which we need to go to any time that we're doing work. So because that's not a fixed location, people can't come and watch us work. And dealing with bees, it's a very seasonal thing. So we have a lot of work with the bees in like the end of like kind of February, March time. There's a lot of work along there, but at this time of year, the bees are relatively dormant. So there's not much to see. So unfortunately, we don't have anywhere.
The farmers markets, and thank you to one of our viewers for pointing it out. The farmers markets are the best place to actually interact with the growers. So we're really looking forward to farmers markets all over Victoria welcoming people back.
Yes, we have on our Facebook page every week when we're attending markets. We're not doing it at the moment, but we list the coming 2 weeks of all the markets that we're going to, so you can look and see if there's a market near you that we'll be attending.
Well, thanks, Robyn, for joining us today on the first ever Outcast. We're really happy that we're able to have passionate local producers, and especially yourself on this first one. So thanks, beautiful OHO people. I hope you've enjoyed this little insight into what's going on with a passionate producer outside the Melbourne Metro Ring. Make sure you like this video, follow us on Instagram and Facebook pages for more updates from 1 Hour Out. And if there's someone you think we should know about or feature in this show, well, drop us a line in the contact link in our bio. So see you next time with another passionate producer on The Outcast.